I enjoy coming to work every day knowing that clients are depending on me to guide them through whatever financial needs they have.
Every client we have is different. And so it's really about finding out what's really the most important thing per client.
With financial planning, everything is interconnected. So a comprehensive plan means that you're taking care of income needs now, income needs in the intermediate term, and income needs long term. We'll do an asset cycle portfolio. We'll do a riskalyze test. We'll do a life insurance audit or a life insurance review.
And so when we build a deep relationship with our clients, then we can take a step back and then we can look at different options to help them specifically get to their goals. One of the things I feel our job is as advisors is to introduce strategies to clients that maybe they did not know that they were out there. But it's our our job to come out and say, have you ever thought about this?
And the planning it's not always about income, but a lot of it is also about the legacy. So the element of family is very important to us, and it's important to our clients.
Hello, my name is Steve Jablonski, and I'm the host of Financially Speaking with Jeff Bush. And as our name states, Informed Family Financial Services, one of the things we like to do and one of our goals is to educate not only clients but people in the community. So through things such as seminars, educating people on Social Security, being published in media publications, Jeff's been in Clippinger and a bunch of others. We also have a sounding board through our Wellspring formula, which is where we help friends and family of our clients, and we act as a sounding board. Another option we have to help people and educate people is what we call our white papers. And there are 8 to 10 of them. We're not going to talk about all of them today, but we are going to look at what's called the Retirement Survival Guide. And with that said, Jeff.
Well, hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. It's good to be here. As we record this, this will be our last show for the year. So as you're watching this, it might be the end of the year or it might be the beginning of the next year. So anyway, here we are. And wow, we've been blessed. It's been an incredible year, 2019, heading into 2020. Hard to believe. What we want to do today is we're going to offer to our viewers, as sort of as a year-end offer, a year-end package. We're going to offer our Retirement Survival Guide. Now, this is a white paper on things that you really need to know, Steve, as you go through retirement. We're going to go through some of these today, but I mean, retirement today is trickier than it's ever been. And we like to say in our business, this is not your father's retirement.
Yes, and so one of the things we help educate people on is the difference in retirement versus savings and saving for many years. So with that said.
Yeah, so it's actually, you know, the retirement we call that the second half of the game. So it's like, you know, the climb down the mountain, the retirement mountain, if you will, is very different than the climb up the mountain. So the way you save and invest is very different when you're in retirement. Oftentimes, you know, the needs are different. You're saving and investing for retirement. You need income. You're looking at asset preservation. You're looking at your legacy. It's very different than when you're climbing up the mountain. You're working. You're saving for retirement, and pretty much you're really investing for growth, long-term growth.
Yep. And so once we understand that it is different in retirement than it was maybe when you were 30 or 40 years old, one of the things we really want to start with is identifying someone's true risk.
Yeah, so risk is and the way that we do it, Steve, is with our riskalyze formula. And of course, you'd mentioned before our Wellspring formula, and as part of that, we have the 7 pillars, and of course, one of those is risk, and identifying and controlling risk to the extent that we can in retirement. And the way we do that is with Riskalyze. Riskalyze is our proprietary product where we actually score and quantify and measure risk in a portfolio, and also quantify risk for the investor.
What's different now with retirement, and how high is some of the indexes versus when you talk about your father's stock market?
Well, what we're seeing is this is a very unusual market in that we've never seen stock values so high and interest rates so low at the same time. In fact, the valuation of the market itself has only been this high 2 other times in our history. One being 1929, which was right before the stock market crash and the Great Depression, and then of course the year 2000, and we had a pretty severe recession after that. And of course, we're not saying that we're heading into a recession. That's not what we're saying here. But what we are saying is that the values of the market, when we look at certain indicators, certain ratios like the price to earnings ratio, we see that the value is pretty high. We're seeing values over 30 when the market historically has been around 15 or 16. So it's very high. And interest rates, we look at 10-year, the yield on a 10-year Treasury is low. It's right around 1.6, 1.7, very low. So the combination of those two makes it very tricky. So the retirement today is very different, and that's why we wanted to offer this retirement survival guide. And if I can, it's a white paper that we produced, and I don't know how big this document is, Steve, but it's about 30 pages.
30 pages. Yep.
So if you want that particular document, the retirement survival guide, you can get that by contacting our office, and we'll put our numbers and our contact information up on the screen a little bit later. But please, give us a call, reach out to us, and we'll send that retirement survival guide out to you free of charge.
And Jeff, when someone works and they save, whether it is saving on their own retirement plan or they save through their employer, what are some of their options? Should they keep it in there when they retire? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, generally speaking, we're big proponents of using the employer-sponsored plan if you have one. So if you're working for a company and they offer a 401k, for example, you should take advantage of it. It's an easy way to save and invest. The money comes right out of your paycheck. And if you're investing in a traditional IRA, you're getting a tax break as you put your money into the IRA, or into the 401k rather. Oftentimes the company will match. So if the company's going to match, 50 cents on the dollar, or sometimes they'll match 100 cents on the dollar up to 3%. All plans are written a little bit different, but take advantage of that. And it's really a systematic way to invest. But once you get to retirement, we like to see the rollover into the IRA, because the 401ks are really good accumulation instruments. They're not particularly designed for distribution. So that's where the IRA comes in. And then, of course, there's a lot of features with an IRA, depending on what your needs are and what your risk is. There's a lot of different things you can do with an IRA once you're in retirement.
And if those are pre-tax dollars, what's out there for maybe some after-tax retirement?
Well, the pre-tax, so the traditional IRA is pre-tax, and when you say pre-tax, what that means is that essentially when you put the money in, you got a tax break. So let's just say they withheld. Let's say they withheld $50 from your paycheck and put it into the 401k. Well, when they go to calculate your taxes, they deducted the $50, and so in essence you didn't pay tax on that money yet. So that's why we call it pre-tax. So now it's sitting in this 401k account pre-tax, and of course the match part of it, the employer is getting a tax break on the match. So that's also pre-tax. So a lot of times when you retire and you have these traditional IRAs, you're sitting on a pretty big tax liability. So if you want to do it after tax, there's a few things that you can do. One is a Roth IRA, or you can do a Roth 401k. So sometimes the Roth 401k was introduced into legislation. I believe it was about 10 years ago, back in 2010. And what that does is it says, okay, well, I'm going to put money in, and I'm not going to you don't get any tax break going in. So, but it's in a sense, it's after tax dollars, and all the growth inside the Roth account grows on a tax-free basis. So you get tax-free growth with a Roth.
And taking it to another level, which one would you say is better, a traditional IRA or a Roth for estate planning?
Well, I mean, it really depends. I mean, from a perspective, a pure perspective of tax efficiency, if you have a Roth, that Roth account is going to go to your heirs on a tax-free basis. So if you have children, and a lot of times the tax bracket of the children are higher than the tax bracket of the parents or the people that are giving the money or gifting the money. So if you can do a conversion into a Roth, and you're really creating tax-free dollars and tax-free growth inside your estate, it's a pretty effective way to get money to the next generation.
And so when we're in retirement, do you manage money all in a bucket, or do you kind of divide it out? Tell us a little bit about that.
The buckets? Yeah.
Or just one, or
Yeah, well, no. Well, one bucket, doesn't really make sense in most cases, unless the bucket's really tiny. Then maybe you do. But I think the whole theory behind, of course you're referring to our asset cycle portfolio model, and what that does is it creates buckets for different purposes, and really along different timelines. So you have short-term buckets, you have an intermediate-term bucket, you have a long-term bucket. Maybe you have a bucket that's for your legacy, for growth. So it's really, and we talk about that in the retirement survival guide. So, and again, I want to emphasize that we are offering the retirement survival guide to everyone viewing our show today, and we're going to get that out to you, and maybe we can get our information up on the screen. You can give us a call in our office if you want to send us an email at info@informedfamily.com, and we'll get that retirement survival guide out to you free of charge.
And in the asset cycle portfolio, is there a component in there because there aren't the pensions that there used to be? Tell us a little bit about that, what the pension environment looks like, and how can you supply guaranteed income that might take place of that pension?
Well, the way I look at the asset cycle portfolio, the guarantees, that's really the first bucket, is where you're designing short-term income, and you can really design it to be guaranteed income. And really, there's a lot of product out there right now that simulates a pension. So you're looking for, if you're looking for products that have guaranteed payouts, or something, where the income's guaranteed for lifetime income, generally done with an annuity product, that's really designed to simulate a pension, because there might be absence of a pension in your plan. So a lot of times we can recreate or simulate a pension with guarantees inside of that very first bucket, the short, where it covers the short-term investments.
So in comprehensive planning, we really identify the client's goals specific to their situation and what product are we looking for as a job description. And then tell us a little bit about fiduciary, being independent. What does that look like?
Well, what has been important to us, Steve, both you and I, over our career, is being independent. We both started in a career or a company environment where we were captive, if you will. Captive meaning that you have a sort of an allegiance to maybe it's a big insurance company, maybe it's a wirehouse, maybe it's a bank, and they give you product to sell, right? So that's what you do, and you go out and you find clients that you can sell this product to. But you and I both evolved into practices where we then became independent. And becoming independent means that you're now working for the client. You're now going out and you're finding products, you're finding services that are specific to the needs of the client. And I look at that as really, operating under a fiduciary capacity. Fiduciary meaning that you're really acting in the best interest of your clients. That's really important to us. And in the landscape of financial planning, and today, that's really what it's all about. And for us, that's what it's always been about. And of course, when we brought you onto the firm, the important element of your background was that you were a CFP, which is a certified financial planner. So when you're a CFP, you're held to a higher standard of ethics, and you have to have that ethical standard that's even above and beyond what we normally would have as registered investment, or I should say as investment advisor representatives. That whole fiduciary or that whole ethical standard.
I want to talk a little bit about the Wellspring formula, but before we get into that, is there anything you'd like to summarize about the retirement guide?
No, other than that, we think this is a pretty good tool if you're at retirement or you're approaching retirement. This is maybe a good springboard, if you will. It just gives you something to think about. There's a lot of things that we talked about on the show here today are covered in this guide. It's just kind of a reference, and it's a nice thing that we're just kind of handing out as a free what we call our white paper. So give our office a call if you want to take advantage of that. We'd be happy to give that to you.
Yeah, and the company's always had a process, and it's been quite an exciting time over this last year as we introduced the Wellspring formula. So Jeff, tell us a little bit about that, and
Well, the Wellspring formula is we decided to name our process. We went through, and Steve, you and I have been in this business for a long time, 25 years, and through the evolution of that, you do a lot of things for your clients, and we discovered when we went through this, we actually counted 113 things that we do for our clients. Now, we would be hard pressed to try to list all those things and try to communicate them in that way. So what we did is we boiled them down into 7 pillars, and then so what we did with the 7 pillars is then we called that the Wellspring formula. So really, for people just have to remember, oh yeah, these, Jeff and Steve, they do the Wellspring formula. And so that's really what we're about right now. And the Wellspring formula is really what we're all about. It's, we follow the 7 pillars, and we've talked about a lot of this today. We talked about the risk. The income planning is really important. You talked about us being a sounding board. And, this is part of even the show that we're doing here is part of it, as we really do the outreach, the community outreach, and really act as a sounding board, if you will. But the Wellspring formula is something that we're really, really excited about, because now we've actually named the process that we have, and when we talk to people and we work with people, we have very consistent communication with how we talk with the people that we work with.
And in our 25 years, in my 25 years, the commonality with clients starts with family. So when you get to the actual formula, what does that stand for?
Yeah, so one of the things that we feel pretty strongly about with the Wellspring formula is something that we call form. So there's a actual form, FORM, in the word formula itself. And as you stated, F is for family. And when you think about it, Steve, the cornerstone of all the planning that we do really centers around the family. And then, of course, with along with that, the rest of that is O, occupation, and R, recreation, and then lastly, M is money.
Yep.
And it's funny how money comes last, because money, you would think, that would be the first thing that we would do, but it's really not. And we're wealth managers. That's one of our 7 pillars, and we do it. And we've been doing it a long time. We think we do that pretty well, but that's really not what sets us apart from any other financial advisor. Everybody does wealth management, but what we do is we tie that into the family. We tie it into the O, the occupation, and the R, the recreation. So the O part of that, the occupation, is really what we've developed as a work optional lifestyle. So what that means is, we've talked to a lot of people over the years. We have several hundred clients, and we've talked to maybe a couple thousand more along the way. And when we do this, it's everybody views work in a different way. Some people work because they really, really want to work. Other people don't. They stop their main job and then they don't want to work anymore. So, just as an example for you and for me, the occupation part of it is, the work optional part of it is we want to work. We want to run our business. We have so much fun doing this. We tape this show every month, and we love it, and we love our business, and we love our clients, and our clients have really grown to need us for the types of things that we do. So the O part of it is really, really important. And then the R part of it is the recreation, and that's like, well, what are we here for? We're here to enjoy our life. So we make some dreams happen. Whether it's a special vacation, whether it's a special, maybe it's a second home. People want to buy. People want to spend time, visiting their children and their grandchildren that may have moved on to other places. So it's really a fascinating process, the Wellspring formula.
And Jeff, when someone reaches out to us, wants to sit down with us, tell us a little bit about the first meeting.
The first meeting I always like to say, it's a get to know you meeting. So we don't really necessarily talk product or we talk strategy. We want to get to know you, and the person we're talking to, they want to get to know us. and ultimately we want to see if it's a fit. Is it a fit for us? Is it a fit for you? Because oftentimes it's not. It's not a fit. We like to say with our Wellspring formula that we can't be all things to all people, but we can be all things to some people, and that's really what we're looking for. So, even with taping this show, we've met a lot of people over the years. So by the way, I can't believe, we're on our 7th year of doing this show, and of course now we're doing it right here in our office here in Pottstown, which we really enjoy doing this. We always enjoyed going to the studio. That was a nice place to do the show, and we had a nice setup there. But here we are on location, and that's nice too. So so we're excited about a lot of things as we head into 2020. And of course we're excited about. We're going to continue to do this show. We're offering this retirement survival guide today. So again, we're going to put this up one more time. If you want that, give our office a call, send us an email, info@informedfamily.com. And with that, Steve, that's a wrap, and we'll see you next time on Financially Speaking.